He was born into silence, a silence no money could break. In the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, a young boy named Eli Hall entered the world without the ability to hear. His father, Richard Hall, was a self-made millionaire, a tech entrepreneur who built one of the largest logistics companies in the state. He had influence, resources, and connections, but none of it could give his son the gift of sound. Doctors diagnosed Eli with profound congenital hearing loss. His ears were fully formed, but his auditory nerves didn't respond. It meant he could see the world, feel it, even taste and touch it, but never hear it. Not a voice, not laughter, not the melody of a lullaby. Richard and his wife, Laura, tried everything: cochlear implants, hearing aids, specialized therapy, even experimental stem cell treatments overseas, but each attempt ended the same way: silence. By the time Eli turned 5, his parents had accepted what doctors called permanent. They learned sign language. They filled their home with visual cues, bright colors and vibration devices. Their son could not hear, but he was loved deeply. Then, in February of 2021, something unexpected happened. Richard was driving home from a meeting downtown when he saw a boy sitting near a grocery parking lot. He couldn't have been older than 14. His clothes were worn. His shoes had holes. Next to him sat an old violin case and a cardboard sign. It read, "We'll play music for food." Richard rolled down his window and handed the boy a $20 bill. The boy smiled, nodded, and said softly, "Thank you, sir. I'll play you something." The sound that came next stopped Richard in his tracks. The violin was scratched and missing a string, but the melody was hauntingly beautiful, pure, emotional. It felt alive. Richard recorded a short clip on his phone and showed it to his wife that evening. Little Eli, sitting beside them, couldn't hear the tune, but he pressed the phone against his chest. He smiled. He could feel the rhythm through the vibration. That was the first time he had ever smiled because of music. The next week, Richard went back to find the boy. He was still there, sitting by the same grocery lot. His name was Marcus Lee. He was 14 years, old, homeless. Marcus had lost his mother during the pandemic. His father had vanished soon after. He carried the violin because it was all he had left of his mom. She used to tell him, music can heal people, even when they can't hear it. Richard invited him for lunch. By the end of the meal, he made a decision. He called his wife and said, "Laura, this kid has something special. I think he might help Eli in ways we can't." Within a week, Marcus was staying in their guest house. He was enrolled in school, given new clothes, a warm bed, and his own space. Eli was curious about the new visitor. He followed Marcus everywhere. Even though they couldn't speak the same language, they formed an instant bond. Eli communicated through sign language. Marcus responded with music. Every afternoon, Marcus would play his violin in the living room. Eli would sit on the floor, his palms pressed against the hardwood, feeling every vibration. For him, that was sound. As days passed, Marcus started experimenting. He learned about vibration therapy, how deep sound waves could help deaf children sense rhythm and tone. He began to play slower, stronger notes. Eli responded immediately. He started tapping his fingers in sync with the beat. Sometimes, he'd laugh without knowing why. It was like his body understood something his ears couldn't. One afternoon, Eli's speech therapist visited. She noticed something astonishing. Eli was shaping his mouth differently. When he tried to speak, he was forming vowel sounds more accurately than before. The therapist said, "It's like he's beginning to hear rhythm, even if he can't hear words." Weeks went by. Marcus kept playing. Eli kept listening through touch. Then, one April afternoon, the impossible happened. Marcus was playing "You Are My Sunshine," a song his mother used to sing. Eli sat near the piano, resting his ear against the wood. Marcus's bow moved gently across the strings. The room filled with vibrations. And then, Eli whispered something, barely audible, a single word: "Ma." Laura turned around in disbelief. Eli had never spoken that word before. She ran to him, tears in her eyes. He looked up, smiled, and repeated it again. Ma. That moment changed everything. Doctors examined Eli and confirmed a stunning discovery. His auditory nerves, once thought inactive, were responding faintly to certain frequencies. His brain had begun to adapt, translating vibrations into neural patterns similar to hearing. In simple terms, Eli was learning to hear through touch. It wasn't a cure, but it was something science had never seen in a child with his condition. When doctors asked what had changed, the answer was always the same. Eli pointed to Marcus's violin. Word spread quickly. A research team at Emory University began studying the case. They called it a rare example of cross-modal plasticity, where one sense rewires to take on the function of another. In Eli's case, his sense of touch was helping his brain interpret sound. For Richard and Laura, it was nothing short of a miracle. But for Marcus, it was something simpler. He told reporters, "I just played what my mama used to play when she wanted me to feel safe." Soon, donations poured in from across the country. Marcus was offered a scholarship at a youth music academy. The Hall family created a foundation called Sound Beyond Silence to fund music-based therapy for children with hearing impairments. Today, years later, the two boys are still inseparable. Marcus lives with a foster family near the Halls. He performs at hospitals and schools, playing music for children who can't hear the way most people do. Eli, now 10 years old, still uses hearing aids and sign language, but he can recognize songs through vibration alone. He can hum simple tunes. And every night before bed, he asks Marcus to play one song, "You Are My Sunshine." When people ask Richard Hall about that time, he always says, "I spent millions trying to buy what a homeless boy gave us for free, hope." And when they ask Marcus why he stayed, he answers quietly, "Because someone finally listened to me before I ever played a note." Two boys, one born into silence, one born into struggle. Neither had what the other did. But together, they found what both had been missing all along: connection. And maybe that's the real miracle. Not sound, not wealth, but the simple truth that healing often comes from the most unexpected places. Sometimes, it doesn't take a doctor or a fortune. Sometimes, it just takes someone willing to sit down, play a song, and let another soul feel it. Because even in a world filled with noise, real miracles happen quietly.